Hey, what's going on, people? This is the second installment of my previous video, top 5 shows that need to be taken off the air. Well, this one is the top 5 shows that I think need to come back on the air. And these are not, those old classic shows like, Good Times or Martin or In Living Color or Sanford and Son. Not those shows, because obviously we might get a reunion of those shows, but the show will actually never come back on because you couldn't really maneuver around it. Besides maybe In Living Color, but I'm gonna focus on shows that could possibly come back. But again, this is not in any particular order. But number one, Reading Rainbow. This was a very educational show. It depicted certain books for children. It was ran by the host was that brother LeVar Burton. He was in Roots. He played Kunta Kinte for you guys that are not familiar with him. But I just thought that was a very educational show. I thought it was very good for our youth. If they was to bring it back nowadays, I think they should start doing adult books too, not just focusing on the children. Let that be the main focus, but I think there should also be an adult Reading Rainbow too. Maybe not that particular name, but just put a spin on it. And when I had my old channel, Knowledge 562, I used to do a segment. I don't know if you guys remember this. This is for the old cats that have been riding with me, but I used to do a segment called Reading with the Negro. And basically what I would do is I would talk about black books, certain book, all the books I read, and I would every week I would do a reading with the Negro segment. And I've been thinking about bringing that back. I don't know if I want to call it Reading with the Negro because of the certain connotations that come with that, but I'm thinking about bringing it back. You guys can give me your feedback whether you think I should keep that title or change the title, or even bring it back in general, but I'm thinking about it. Number 2, Teen Summit. This was an old show that used to come on BET, where they would bring in a bunch of teenagers in the studio and they would talk about issues that teenagers deal with, whether it's peer pressure, whether it was drugs, whether it was gangs, whether it was rape, studying habits, college. They would talk about all type of different subjects. And this was back when BET actually would have programs that were vital to our community. I remember they had a couple years ago the Student Center that Jaleesa used to host, and they took that off because BET is basically nothing but a coon network now, and if you really look at it, they show nothing but reruns or the same movies over and over and over again. But I thought that was a very good show. They used to have certain guests on there, artists, or even unknown artists. I remember back in the day, it was way in the 90s, early 90s, Escape was on there. This was before they got signed to So Def and everything, but it just was a really good show, good spot for you to voice yourself as an artist, on an independent level. This was a very good show, and I think they need to bring that back. Number 3, College Hill. A lot of people might say this is stereotypical, to all the the fighting shows out here, or the reality shows, but I think College Hill really gave an actual new age outlook on what the college life is. When you put different, it was almost like, if I was to say, it was like the Breakfast Club, but on a today's type of level, and them being put inside of one house. And you will see the fight, you will see the different personalities, you will see people clash because of backgrounds or race or gender. And it wasn't just all negativity or drama. That's part of the show, that's what draws in the ratings. But they will have a goal that they had to achieve every season, whether it was helping out the homeless or it was just something that was always put into to place for the college students to actually accomplish, along with getting through the drama and all the aggravation within the house. And the executive producers of it was Babyface and his wife, and I don't know if they took it all because of that, because they got a divorce, so maybe they didn't want any business ties with each other. But I just thought that was a cool show. It was entertaining, and it really gave you an outlook on what today's college kids are like, because let's not pretend like You know, it's a Walt Disney store. When you go to college, you do experience things. I remember when I was in college, you know, I experienced with people from, you know, different backgrounds, different nationalities, you know, people who had certain type of mindsets, and these are just the things that you deal with. And I just thought it was a very interesting show. Number 4, The Wire. This was one of my favorite shows when it was out, you know, especially season 4. I was addicted to that show, you know, whether they had the kids on there, and it really showed the street life of Baltimore. It was very realistic. You know, I had a close friend of mine that stayed in Baltimore that was from that same area, and, you know, he was saying, he would always tell me how real life they depicted the city in that show. You know, with the kids and the educational system and the corrupt police, and how they would make these different type of programs for police to come in and basically babysit the bad kids that were so-called out there, you know, selling drugs or whatever. And just the overall concept of the show, it was gangster, it was entertaining, it was educational as far as America. They showed politics in it and how politics affect the community, which is why we have a lot of our youth out here doing certain activities, and how you know, the drug dealers influence the youth in there. It just was a great show, and they took it off at the season 5. Season 5 was okay. It wasn't as great as the previous ones, but I just thought that was a real cool show. It was real gangster, real urban, real to life. It depicted a certain part of the black community that's going on, and it didn't just focus on drugs or, you know, the youth selling drugs or killing people. It really showed what's behind it as far as the politics and the educational system and the parenting. It really showed you every aspect, and that's why I thought it was just a great show. And I would like to see them come back, even if it was only for just one more season. But on to the last one, the Boondocks. I've talked about the Boondocks before. A lot of people ridicule this show. They say that it shows black people in a negative light, or you know, it shows certain type of stereotypes. But I think a lot of people don't realize how intelligent the Boondocks is, and it really holds a mirror up to the black community, and it really shows every aspect of us. Whether it comes from, you have the guy that plays Tom, that has a white wife, you know, that kind of takes on white male characteristics. You have the biracial little girl that comes from the character Tom and his wife. You have, of course, Uncle Ruckus that displays a lot of the coonish and Sambo behavior that's in the black community, and the type of mindset of blacks who have been mentally distorted to hate their own people and to cherish anything that's white. Then you have the character Riley, you know, badass little kid, one of those kids that's very influenced by the hip hop culture, you know, just a product of his environment, a product of today's media and today's hip hop music and certain images that are shown on TV. Then you had his brother Huey, you know, that recognized what was going on, you know. Reads books, don't just watch TV, aware of what goes on in society, speaks the truth, has that knowledge of self, and tries to educate his people, you know, even with the ridicule that he would get. You know, it's a very intelligent show, and it really shows a mirror to us. And I think that's what people don't like, that, you know, people sit back and say, hey, you know, we really act like that, or there are really people like that in our community. And yes, it is. You know, every aspect of us is displayed in that show. Now, the show is funny as hell. They add the comical relief to it and everything. But when you really look at the show, it really depicts us, and it really holds a mirror to us and say, you know, maybe we do need to change some things. Maybe we do need to call out certain issues, or maybe we do need to start being more responsible for our community and our people and the way we think, and the betterment of our people as a whole. And I think a lot of people miss that when they watch the Boondocks. Some people just sit there and laugh at, you know, the what we call niggerish shit, you know, that's in the show. And then you have those people who, like me, that laugh but then understand what is the message they're trying to convey over. And you know, there's another thing about that show. I don't know if you guys realize the two guys that are always robbing people. One of the voices is Samuel Jackson. The other guy is Charlie Murphy. and you notice those two guys are white. And what they were trying to do is that they were trying to put a different color on what is stereotypically considered a black man to be doing. You know, robbing people, cussing all the time, being very aggressive. You know, the over masculine black male, but they put a white face over it. And what they were trying to do is get people to view the fact that this is not just coming out of the black community. This is not just black men. These could be white men too. And a lot of people miss that. You know, a lot of people ask, "Oh, why are those two guys white but they sound black?" But I picked that up. So you know, it's a very intelligent show. But I don't want to make this video too long. It's already over 10 minutes. But you guys give me your feedback. Let me know about some show that you would like to see come back. But I'm out. Peace.